The vampire alien reappeared at my door whispering, "They're yours." Human asterisk the unexpected return knock came at 2:47 a.m. Sharp and insistent against my apartment door. I'd been hunched over my laptop, debugging code for the millionth time that week, surviving on instant coffee, and the stubborn belief that sleep was for people who didn't have deadlines. The sound made me jump, spilling lukewarm coffee across my keyboard. "Fantastic," I muttered, grabbing a towel. "Who the hell visits at this hour?" Another knock, more urgent this time. I peered through the peephole and saw nothing but darkness. Great. Either my hallway light had finally given up, or someone was playing games. I was about to ignore it, when a voice drifted through the door, soft, familiar, and impossible. "Dante, please." My blood turned to ice water. That voice, I knew that voice like I knew my own heartbeat, even though I hadn't heard it in 3 years. 3 years, 2 months, and 16 days. But who was counting? I fumbled with the locks, my hands shaking like leaves in a hurricane. The door swung open, and there she stood, Zephyra Voss, looking exactly as ethereal and otherworldly as the day she'd vanished from my life without explanation. Her skin still held that pale luminescence that had first caught my attention at the university astronomy lab. Her hair, silver white and flowing like liquid moonlight, framed a face that belonged in Renaissance paintings, and those eyes crimson as fresh blood, ancient as starlight, fixed on mine with an intensity that made my knees weak. But something was different. She looked fragile. Her usually pristine appearance was disheveled, her dark clothing torn and stained. Most shocking of all, she carried 2 bundles in her arms, wrapped in what looked like space-age fabric. "Zephyra," my voice cracked like a teenager's. "What are you? How did you?" "May I come in?" she interrupted, and I noticed the slight tremor in her voice. "Please, Dante, I don't have much time." I stepped aside, still processing the impossibility of her presence. She glided past me with that same otherworldly grace I remembered. But there was urgency in her movements now, a barely contained panic that set my nerves on edge. She settled onto my couch, still holding those mysterious bundles, and for the first time in years, I got a good look at her face. She was exhausted, a concept I'd never associated with Zephyra before. During our time together, she'd seemed inexhaustible, powered by some internal force I couldn't comprehend. "You look good," she said softly. And despite everything, I felt a flutter of the old attraction. "Older, but good. You look like you've been through hell," I replied, settling into the chair across from her. "What happened to you? Where have you been? Why did you leave without Dante?" She shifted the bundles in her arms, and I heard something impossible, a soft, sleepy murmur. My heart stopped. "I need you to listen carefully. What I'm about to tell you will sound insane. Try me. I dated you for 8 months. My insanity tolerance is pretty high." A ghost of her old smile flickered across her lips. "I'm not from Earth. I'm from a world called Nocturnus in the Veil Nebula. My people are what you would call vampiric. We feed on life energy, not blood. We're long-lived, telepathic, and we don't typically reproduce with other species." I stared at her. "Okay. I mean, I kind of suspected the alien thing. The whole never eating food and skin that glows in moonlight was a dead giveaway." She blinked, surprised. "You knew?" I guessed. "I figured you'd tell me when you were ready." I leaned forward. "But Zephyra, what's in those blankets?" Her crimson eyes, filled with something I'd never seen there before, fear mixed with desperate hope. Slowly, carefully, she pulled back the fabric from one bundle, then the other. 2 faces looked up at me, small, perfect, with features that were unmistakably human, and unmistakably mine. My dark hair, my stubborn chin, my eyes, but their skin held a faint luminescence, and when they blinked, I caught flashes of crimson in their irises. "Their names are Luna and Cosmos," Zephyra whispered. "They're 2 years old. And Dante." She looked up at me, her ancient eyes swimming with tears. "They're yours, human." The weight of truth. He sat in stunned silence for what felt like hours, but was probably only seconds. The twins, my twins, stared up at me with curious, intelligent eyes that seemed to hold depths no 2-year-old should possess. Luna, the smaller of the 2, reached out with a tiny hand and made a sound that was half giggle, half purr. "Mine," I whispered, the word feeling foreign on my tongue. How is that possible? I mean, biologically speaking, my people have been studying genetics for millennia, Zephyr said, gently rocking Cosmos as he began to fuss. We can adapt our reproductive systems to be compatible with other species, but it's complicated. Dangerous. That's why I left. Dangerous how? She was quiet for a long moment, stroking Luna's silver-streaked hair. Hybrid children are considered abominations by the Nocturnus High Council. When I discovered I was pregnant, I had to choose abort them or flee. I chose to run. The casual way she said abort them made my stomach lurch. These perfect little beings, nearly destroyed before they'd even had a chance to exist. You've been hiding for 3 years, 2 years, 8 months, she corrected. I carried them for 11 months. Our gestation period is longer. I've been moving from system to system, staying ahead of the hunters, council assassins. They've been tracking us since Luna and Cosmos were born. The children's mixed heritage makes them powerful, but also unstable. The council fears what they might become. Luna chose that moment to grab my finger with surprising strength. Her touch sent a strange tingling sensation up my arm, and for just an instant, I could swear I heard her thoughts, wordless, but warm, recognizing me somehow. Jesus, I breathed, pulling my hand back. She's telepathic. They both are. Along with enhanced strength, speed, and other abilities we haven't discovered yet. Zephyr's voice was heavy with exhaustion. Dante, I didn't come here to drop them off and disappear. I came because I'm dying. The words hit me like a physical blow. What? The constant running. The energy expenditure of hiding us from psychic tracking, it's draining my life force faster than I can replenish it. I have maybe weeks left, possibly less. I stared at her, searching for signs of deception, but saw only raw honesty. The luminescence of her skin was dimmer than I remembered, and now that I looked closely, there were dark circles under her eyes that no amount of alien physiology could hide. There has to be something we can do. Medical treatment, energy supplements, not. On Earth, your technology isn't advanced enough. She shifted Cosmos to her other arm. But you can do something for me, for them, anything. Be their father, really be their father. Not just genetically, but in every way that matters. They'll need grounding as they grow. Someone to teach them how to be human while accepting their Nocturnus heritage. I looked at the twins, really looked at them. Luna had fallen asleep, her tiny chest rising and falling with each breath. Cosmos was wide awake, studying me with an intensity that was almost unsettling. As I watched, his eyes shifted from brown to crimson and back again. I don't know the first thing about being a father, I admitted. I can barely take care of myself. I eat cereal for dinner and haven't done laundry in 2 weeks. You'll learn. You're brilliant, Dante. You always were. Zephyr reached out and touched my face, her fingers cool against my skin. They'll need that intelligence. Hybrid children develop fast mentally, physically, psychically. By the time they're 5, they'll be operating at the level of human teenagers. That's terrifying. It's extraordinary. Her smile was sad but genuine. They're the first successful human Nocturnus hybrids in recorded history. They could bridge 2 worlds, bring understanding between species, or they could accidentally tear holes in reality. It's really a coin flip at this point. Despite everything, I found myself laughing. You always did have a talent for understatement. It's one of my more endearing qualities. We sat in comfortable silence for a while. The twins settled between us like a bridge across 3 years of separation and hurt. I found myself memorizing their faces, the way Luna's hair caught the light, how Cosmos seemed to be cataloging every detail of the room with his impossibly perceptive gaze. Zephyra, I said finally, why didn't you tell me when you found out you were pregnant? Why didn't you come to me? She was quiet for so long I thought she wasn't going to answer. When she finally spoke, her voice was barely a whisper. Because I was afraid you'd try to come with me, and I couldn't bear the thought of getting you killed for my mistakes. The honesty in her words cut deeper than any anger could have. I wanted to tell her she was wrong, that I would have found a way to protect all of them. But the truth was I probably would have done exactly what she feared, charged headfirst into a situation I didn't understand and gotten everyone killed. I'm sorry, she said, for leaving, for not trusting you with the truth, for showing up now and turning your life upside down. I reached out and took her hand, surprised by how cold it was. Don't apologize for giving me the most incredible gift imaginable. She squeezed my fingers, and for a moment, it felt like we were back in the observatory, sharing quiet conversations under the stars, falling in love without realizing it. What does that involve? Trust, she said simply. Complete, absolute trust, between all of us. Asterisk bonds of blood and starlight bonding ritual, Zephyra explained, required us to share memories, emotions, and psychic energy while the twins were in a meditative state. It sounded complicated, but the reality was surprisingly simple and terrifyingly intimate. Sit on the floor, she instructed, arranging Luna and Cosmos on a blanket between us. Place your hands on their foreheads. Don't fight whatever you feel or see. Just let it happen. What exactly am I going to feel? Everything. Her crimson eyes met mine. My memories of carrying them, their first moments of consciousness, the love I have for them, and the love I still have for you. My heart hammered against my ribs. Zephyra, Dante, please. This isn't about us, it's about them. They need to understand that you're safe, that you'll protect them. The only way to establish that bond is through emotional truth. I positioned my hands as she'd shown me, my palms resting gently on Luna's and Cosmos's warm foreheads. Zephyra did the same from her side, her fingers briefly brushing mine. The moment our skin made contact with the twins, the world exploded into sensation. Flashes of memory, not my own. Zephyra doubled over in pain in some sterile medical facility, arguing with beings I couldn't quite see clearly. The overwhelming joy of feeling life growing inside her. Terror as alarms blared, and she fled through corridors filled with silver light. Running, always running, different worlds, different skies. The exhaustion of hiding, of shielding to growing minds from detection. Sleepless nights feeding Luna and Cosmos with her own energy, watching them grow stronger while she grew weaker. And underneath it all, like a constant heartbeat, love for the children, fierce and protective, and love for me unchanged. Despite 3 years of separation, despite the fear and pain and impossible circumstances, but the memories weren't one way. I felt Zephyra experiencing my thoughts, my emotions from the past 3 years. The hollow ache of waking up to find her gone, the countless nights I'd stood on my balcony looking up at the stars, wondering if she was out there somewhere, the way I'd thrown myself into work to avoid dealing with the grief of losing her. Through it all, Luna and Cosmos were learning us. I could feel their young minds cataloging every sensation, emotion, and memory. They were building a foundation of understanding about who we were, what we meant to each other, and most importantly, that they were safe and loved. The process lasted maybe 20 minutes, but it felt like hours. When it finally ended, I was exhausted and emotionally raw. Luna and Cosmos had both fallen asleep, their tiny faces peaceful. Zephyra slumped back against the couch, looking even more drained than before. Are you okay? I asked, reaching for her. I'm fine, it's done. She managed a weak smile. They know you now, really know you. They'll never fear you or doubt your love for them. What about you? That took a lot out of you. It was worth it. She closed her eyes. Dante, I need to tell you practical things about their care, their education, what to expect as they grow for the next hour. She outlined a comprehensive guide to raising hybrid children. They would need a diet rich in certain minerals found primarily in meteorites. She'd brought a supply that would last several years. Their psychic abilities would manifest gradually, requiring careful guidance to prevent accidents. Most importantly, they would need to understand both sides of their heritage to achieve emotional balance. There's a communication device in my ship, she said, pulling a small, crystalline object from her pocket. It's programmed with educational materials, lullabies from my world, and contact information for trusted allies. If the hunters ever find you, break it. Someone will come. You're talking like you're leaving. I am. She struggled to her feet, moving like someone decades older than she appeared. The hunters track me through psychic signature. As long as I'm here, I'm putting you and the children in danger. Then we'll all leave. Together. No. Her voice was firm. Dante, look at me. Really look. I did, and for the first time, I saw, past my own desperation to the reality of her condition. Her skin was losing its luminescence even as I watched. Her breathing was shallow, labored. Whatever energy she'd expended during the bonding had accelerated her decline. "You're dying," I whispered. "I'm dying," she confirmed. "But they're not, and you're not. That's what matters. There has to be something." "There is." She knelt beside the sleeping twins, pressing a gentle kiss to each of their foreheads. "Live, raise them, love them, help them become everything they're meant to be. Zephyra, promise me." She turned to face me, and I saw tears streaming down her pale cheeks. "Promise me you'll give them everything I can't. A normal childhood, stability, the chance to choose their own path instead of running from hunters their entire lives." "I promise," I said, meaning it with every fiber of my being. She nodded, satisfied. "There's a bank account I've been moving funds to Earth currency for 2 years. The information is with the communication device. It should be enough to provide for them until they're adults. What about you? Where will you go? Far away from here, far away from them." She moved toward the door, each step seeming to cost her tremendous effort. "The hunters will follow my trail away from Earth. It will buy you time to establish new identities for the children, to disappear into normal human life." I followed her to the door. Luna and Cosmos still sleeping peacefully on the blanket. "This is goodbye, isn't it?" "Yes, I love you," I said, the words falling out before I could stop them. "I never stopped loving you." She turned back, her crimson eyes bright with unshed tears. "I know. I felt it during the bonding. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever experienced." "Then stay. We'll figure something out." "I can't." She reached up and touched my face one last time. "But I'll always be with them. Part of my essence is in their DNA. When they use their abilities, when they dream, when they look up at the stars, I'll be there." She kissed me then, soft and desperate and final. Her lips were cool, tasting of starlight and sorrow. Then she was gone, slipping out into the pre-dawn darkness like a ghost. I stood in the doorway for a long time, listening to the sound of her ship launching a low hum that faded into silence. When I finally turned back to the apartment, Luna was awake, watching me with impossibly wise eyes. "Mama," she said clearly, her first word. "Mama had to go away," I whispered, scooping her up. "But Daddy's here. Daddy's always going to be here." She settled against my chest with a contented sigh, and for the first time in years, I felt complete. Learning to be human, 6 months passed before I stopped jumping at every unexpected sound, convinced the hunters had found us. But as weeks turned 2 months without any sign of alien assassins, I began to relax into a routine that resembled normal life if normal life involved toddlers who could move objects with their minds and occasionally levitated in their sleep. I'd quit my job as a software engineer, using Zephyr's funds to become a freelance developer. It allowed me to work from home while keeping constant watch over Luna and Cosmos. The transition from bachelor to single father had been brutal, but somehow we'd all survived. "Daddy, why doesn't my juice box work like other kids?" Luna asked one morning, holding up a thoroughly crushed apple juice container. She'd squeezed it without realizing her own strength again. "Because you're special," I said, opening a new one for her. "Remember what we talked about. You have to be gentle with human things." Cosmos, meanwhile, was systematically disassembling his toy robot to understand how it worked. He'd been doing this since he could walk, taking apart everything from alarm clocks to kitchen appliances with the methodical precision of a scientist. "I fixed it better," he announced, holding up what had been a simple walking robot, but now resembled a miniature transformer. As I watched, it shifted into 3 different configurations, each more complex than the last. "That's great, buddy. Just remember we don't show our fixes to other people, okay?" Both children nodded solemnly. They'd adapted to the concept of hiding their abilities with the ease of natural spies. It was both impressive and slightly terrifying. The communication device Zephyra had left us was proving invaluable. It had taught me to identify the signs of psychic overload, how to help them channel their telepathic abilities safely, and most importantly, when to be concerned about their development. According to the educational materials, hybrid children typically experienced rapid mental growth until age 5. when their development would level off to something approaching normal human rates. Luna and Cosmos were right on schedule. They spoke in complete sentences, understood complex concepts, and displayed problem-solving skills that would make PhD candidates weep. But they were still children. They got cranky when tired, cried when hurt, and needed bedtime stories and goodnight kisses. They just happened to need those things while occasionally demonstrating abilities that defied known physics. "Daddy, I had a dream about Mama," Luna said one evening as I tucked her into bed. She was flying between stars, and she was happy. "That sounds like a beautiful dream. Was it real?" I hesitated. The communication device had mentioned that hybrid children often experienced prophetic dreams, or visions related to their nocturnus parent. But I wasn't sure how to explain that to a 3-year-old. "Maybe," I said finally, "your Mama was very connected to the stars. It's possible you're seeing something real." Luna smiled and closed her eyes. "Good. I don't want her to be sad." Cosmos piped up from his bed across the room. "Daddy, will we see her again?" It was the question that haunted my quiet moments. "I don't know, buddy. Maybe someday. When I'm bigger, I'm going to build a spaceship and find her," he declared with absolute certainty. "When you're bigger, you can do anything you want," I agreed, kissing his forehead. As their abilities grew stronger, so did the challenges. Luna had accidentally telepathically connected with our neighbor's cat, leaving her confused and meowing for 3 days. Cosmos had somehow reprogrammed the building's elevator to play classical music and respond to voice commands in what sounded like ancient Latin. I'd had to explain to the landlord that the building's new smart elevator was the result of a software glitch I was helping to resolve. Thankfully, Mr. Patterson was elderly and believed technology was basically magic anyway. "Dr. Reynolds," I said into my phone, scheduling another appointment with the pediatrician who'd become unwittingly crucial to our lives. "Yes, it's about Luna and Cosmos again." "No, nothing's wrong. They're just advanced." Dr. Jennifer Reynolds had been treating the twins since I'd established their fake identities. As far as she knew, they were my children from a previous relationship with a woman who died in a car accident. The story was tragic enough to prevent too many follow-up questions, while explaining why there were no medical records from their early infancy. "Bring them in Thursday," Dr. Reynolds said. "But Dante, I have to ask, have you considered having them evaluated by a specialist? Their cognitive development is off the charts. They might qualify for gifted programs. I'll think about it." I lied smoothly. The last thing we needed was academic attention that might reveal just how gifted they really were. After hanging up, I found the twins in the living room, working together on what appeared to be a 3-dimensional puzzle made of light. They'd discovered they could combine their abilities to create temporary holographic constructs, a skill not mentioned in any of Zephyr's educational materials. "What are you building?" I asked, settling onto the couch to watch. "It's Earth," Luna said, manipulating the swirling blue and green sphere with careful mental precision. "But from space, like how Mama would see it. We're showing her we're okay," Cosmos added, adjusting continental details with an accuracy that suggested he'd somehow accessed satellite imagery. Through our internet connection, I watched them work. These impossible children who'd become my whole world. They missed their mother with an intensity that broke my heart, but they'd adapted to life with me with remarkable resilience. We'd created our own little family unit, complete with inside jokes, bedtime rituals, and the kind of chaos that comes with any household containing toddlers. Even if those toddlers occasionally demonstrated abilities that suggested they might one day reshape the fundamental nature of reality. "It's beautiful," I said, and meant it. The holographic Earth they'd created was perfect in every detail, from the swirl of clouds to the glitter of city lights on the night side. "Do you think she can see it?" Luna asked. "I think she can see you," I said. "Both of you. Always." They smiled and let the construct fade, satisfied with their work. As I got them ready for bed, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched not by hunters, but by someone who loved us, someone who was proud of what we'd become. That night, I dreamed of silver light and distant stars, and a voice whisper singing lullabies in a language I didn't recognize, but somehow understood. In the morning, I woke to find Luna and Cosmos had somehow levitated in their sleep, floating 6 inches above their beds with peaceful expressions on their faces. Just another day in our wonderfully impossible life. Forever changed. 2 years had passed since Zephyr's midnight visit changed everything. Luna and Cosmos were now 4 years old chronologically, but their mental development had progressed to somewhere around 8 or 9 years old. They attended a special private school under carefully crafted identities, where their advanced abilities could be attributed to exceptional giftedness rather than alien heritage. I'd grown into fatherhood the way plants grow towards sunlight, gradually, instinctively, with occasional periods of dramatic growth spurts. The man who'd once survived on cereal and coffee now could braid hair, mediate sibling disputes, and explain quantum physics in terms a child could understand. Because with Luna and Cosmos, you never knew when theoretical physics might become a practical concern. "Daddy, why do you get sad sometimes when you watch the stars?" Luna asked one evening as we sat on our apartment building's roof deck. I'd been pointing out constellations while she and Cosmos practiced their telekinetic control by making pebbles dance in the air. "I miss someone," I said honestly. "We'd always been truthful with each other, within age-appropriate limits, Mama," Cosmos said matter-of-factly, not looking up from the intricate pattern he was weaving with floating stones. "You miss Mama?" "Yes, I miss your Mama. She's not gone," Luna said confidently. "She's just different now." Before I could ask what she meant, my phone buzzed with an emergency notification, then another and another. I glanced at the screen and froze. Multiple news outlets were reporting the same impossible story. First contact. An alien vessel had entered Earth's atmosphere and was requesting permission to land. The ship's design was unlike anything in human technology, sleek, luminescent, beautiful in a way that suggested it was grown rather than built. I knew that design. I'd seen it twice before, once in grainy security footage from a university parking lot, and once in the pre-dawn darkness outside my apartment. "Children," I said carefully, "I think we need to go inside." But Luna and Cosmos were staring up at the sky with identical expressions of wonder and recognition. High above us, barely visible against the star field, a shape moved with impossible grace. "She came back," Luna whispered. "She came back for us," Cosmos added. My heart hammered against my ribs. "Kids, listen to me." That might not be. The communication device in my pocket began to glow. Not the soft pulse that indicated an incoming educational transmission, but a brilliant, sustained light that I'd never seen before. When I pulled it out, it projected a 3-dimensional image that made my breath catch. Zephyra stood before us, or rather a hologram of Zephyra did, but she looked different, stronger, more radiant than I'd ever seen her. The exhaustion was gone, replaced by something that looked like peace. "Hello, my loves," she said, her voice carrying across dimensions. "I'm sorry I couldn't come sooner." "Mama," Luna and Cosmos cried in unison, reaching toward the projection. "I'm here," Zephyra said gently. "I'm really here, Dante. I know you have questions, but first, are they well? Are they happy there?" "Perfect," I managed. "They're brilliant and kind, and they ask questions that make my brain hurt in the best possible way." She laughed, and the sound was like music. "I knew you'd be wonderful with them. I could feel it, even from so far away." "Zephyra, how is this possible?" "You were dying." "I was," she said. "But death isn't always the end for my people. Sometimes it's a transformation. The hunters tracked me to the edge of the galaxy, and when I could run no further, I made a choice. I let go of physical form and became something else." "What kind of something else?" "Energy. Consciousness without flesh. It took me 2 years to learn how to exist this way, to gather enough power to return." She looked at Luna and Cosmos with infinite tenderness. I felt them calling to me, their love, their need to understand their heritage. I couldn't stay away. The hologram flickered, becoming more solid. For a moment, it looked like Zephyra was actually standing on the roof with us. "But I'm not the only one who's come," she continued. "The Nocturnus High Council has finally seen what Luna and Cosmos represent. Not a threat to be eliminated, but a bridge between worlds. A new kind of being that could help both our species evolve." Meaning the hunters are gone. The council wants to study our children, learn from them, and they want to offer humanity a gift, the chance to join the galactic community as equals rather than primitives to be avoided. I stared at her, processing the magnitude of what she was saying. They want to make first contact, officially, with our children as ambassadors, living proof that human and nocturnus can coexist, can create something beautiful together. Luna tugged on my sleeve. Daddy, can we go see the ship? The ship that's currently causing worldwide panic and probably has every military on Earth pointed at it. It's perfectly safe. Zephyra assured me. The council has been broadcasting peaceful intentions on all frequencies. They're waiting for permission to land at the United Nations headquarters, and they want us there. They want to meet the human who raised the first hybrid children, the man who proved that love transcends species barriers. She smiled. Also, Luna and Cosmos are technically Nocturnus royalty now. Hybrid children are so rare they're considered sacred. We're royalty? Cosmos asked, his eyes wide. You're whatever you choose to be. I said firmly, royal, normal, or anything in between. Can we choose to be with Mama? Luna asked. Zephyr's expression grew serious. That's complicated. I exist differently now. I can visit. I can project myself for periods of time. But I can't be physical the way I used to be. I can't hold you or read you bedtime stories or help with homework. But you can be with us sometimes. Cosmos pressed. Sometimes, when you need me most. I'll be there. I looked at my children, our children, and saw the hope in their faces. They'd grown up knowing they were different, special, caught between two worlds. Now they were being offered the chance to belong fully to both. What do you need from us? I asked. Just what you've already given them, Zephyr said. Love, guidance, the knowledge that they're accepted exactly as they are. She paused. And maybe a willingness to help the species learn to understand each other. Through them, through all of us, the Council wants to establish a cultural exchange program, humans learning about Nocturnus society, Nocturnus learning about human emotions and creativity. Luna and Cosmos would be living examples of what's possible when different worlds come together. I considered this, weighing the magnitude of the decision, a normal life, quiet and safe, versus becoming part of something that would change the course of human history. What do you think? I asked Luna and Cosmos. They looked at each other. That silent communication passing between them that I'd learned to recognize. Finally, Luna spoke for both of them. We want to help, she said. Simply, we want other kids like us to not have to hide, and we want to see Mama's world. Cosmos added. I nodded, my decision made. Then we'll help. Zephyr's smile was radiant. I love you, she said. All of you, more than all the stars in all the galaxies. We love you too, I replied, meaning it with every fiber of my being, as if responding to our declaration. The ship overhead began to descend, its luminous hull casting silver light across the city. In the distance, I could hear sirens, news helicopters, the chaos of a world about to change forever. But on our rooftop, surrounded by floating pebbles and holographic light, we were just a family reunited at last, ready for the adventure of several lifetimes. Zephyra asked. I looked at Luna and Cosmos, at their excitement and determination, at their absolute trust that we would face whatever came next together. Ready, I said. And we were.